undertakers from the Pretoria Showgrounds, where services are held, as you heard there in the interview with Bob Mabena of the Power Breakfast team, speaking to the police's K. Makubela, and the K. Makubela indicating that the church has been charged with defeating the ends of justice. Spokesperson for the church, Maynard Manyowa, speaks to us now. Welcome, Maynard.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for your time. Now, talk to us about the extent at which the church is cooperating with the police and dealing with this matter, and give us details of whether the police were called immediately to the scene and how that was dealt with.
Well, the church is cooperating with the police fully and totally. We are trying as much as possible to give them access to people who may have been eyewitnesses, people who were in and around the scene where some of the people then unfortunately lost their lives. We've tried to also gather as a church if there are people who've got cell phone footage, amateur footage, because this was a stampede, and in an event like this one, no one mounts a drone or no one is in a helicopter with a bird's eye view. So some of us who are not directly at the scene are also relying on the different accounts and the different versions of some of the people who were injured, some of the people who were traumatized. And we are trying as much as possible to try and give police access to all of these things, whether it's be it people they want to speak to, be it people within the church, members of the security, members of the ushering. We are doing our very best to make sure that happens.
Has any credible information been discovered at this point, and is it known who may have been responsible, particularly for the moving of the bodies, as this is now a criminal case?
Yes, but because this is a matter that is now under police investigation, I'm limited to what I can say with regards to the information that is coming out. But what I can assure you, and like what I can warrant you, is that we are as much as possible trying to cooperate with the police, and we are waiting for the police to complete their investigation, and from then on it will also inform our internal processes. We are also doing an internal audit within our structures. We want to understand exactly what transpired. We want to see where and how we failed as an organization. I mean, we do crowd control drills. We've got probably one of the most secure units when it comes to crowd control, and we've been successful in the 6 years we've been operating. But this event is making us reflect, so we are going through those processes. And with regards to what transpired and the circumstances under which the police have then laid charges against the church, we will also have internal processes, and I can assure you that as they complete their investigation and we now have a credible version that is backed by the police themselves, there will be internal processes, there will be internal structures. I think as we speak, you may have heard or you may have learned in reports that I think there's already one pastor who's already been suspended, and we will continue on that track. We want to understand, and if it is that it is found in the police investigation that certain members may have acted illegally, broke the law, or there may have been misconduct on our part, I can assure you there will be internal processes which will complement the processes which are being done by the South African Police Service.
Given that there is protocol, as you indicate, with regards to disaster management, talk to us then about the failures that you are initially identifying as to what went wrong with your own crowd control measures, and how the church feels about the authorities, including police and emergency services, responded on that fateful day.
Well, I think maybe to begin with, before I even talk about the systems, I think it's very important for me to put it on record that we are very heartbroken about the loss of life. We are very heartbroken about the fact that people were injured, about the fact that people suffered, trauma, psychological and physical trauma. And we are very disappointed that having gone for 6 years, we had this unfortunate incident happen. It's not an incident we've ever wanted to happen. I'll also state on record that the Prophet, in his personal capacity, has been battling and struggling, to deal with the loss of life. He is a man who repeatedly says on his social media, in services, that he loves his children. He loves each and every single member of the ECG. He even loves his enemies. He says this all the time. And for him, it's been difficult going to bed every night knowing that people came to fellowship, people came to hear the good news, people came, to worship, and people lost their lives and people were injured. And that is something for which he is battling, to deal with, and he's extremely sorry about, and he's heartbroken. He's offered his condolences to the family. He's trying as much as possible to support them, to erect structures which is to make sure that in the future the shock of loss of loved ones doesn't hit the families as much as possible. Now on to what you had actually asked me with regards to what we have identified. I think as I said, I do not want to preempt what the police will say in their investigation. And the reason I'm saying this is I hope you understand that the people who follow the Prophet are people who love him a lot. I think in the common streets we are commonly called sycophants. People say that we are crazy in love with the Prophet. If we start speaking today about a particular version, we risk also influencing the witnesses and the people who were there to then also echo our version. So we want as much as possible, and we've tried as much as possible to keep a lid and be limited in what we say, so that witnesses who come forward do not feel some undue pressure. If for example, we come up and we said a version ABC happened, we don't want a member of the church who wants to speak to the police to then feel that they are pressured to reiterate what we have said. We want them to say what they've seen. We want them to identify the loopholes, and we want as much as possible to find out the truth, because in this particular incident, the only way we can prevent something like this from happening ever again is not by covering our tracks, but uncovering the truth and seeing where the loopholes are.
Most definitely. As a parting shot, tell us then about these reports of security being bolstered at the church. How is this being done?
Well, like I say, I'm learning of this report from you. Presently, we are taking a break. The Prophet is he's away, and the church is not holding services. What we have done, and like I said, what we are doing since that incident, is we are trying as much as possible to reflect. We want to understand where we made mistakes. If anything that perhaps has been bolstered right now, it's a retraining for members of the ushering, members of the protocol team, members of security. We want to try as much as possible to equip them. If there are any loopholes, for example, if we found that we were lacking in a particular space, we want to try and make sure that we consolidate there. But I wouldn't call it beefing up per se, but what I would say is we want to make sure that such an incident never ever happens again at the Enlightened Christian Gathering Church.
We sincerely hope so. Thank you so much for your time. ECG Chair Spokesperson Maynard Manyowa talking to us about a recent fatal stampede in which 3 women were killed when congregants were rushing for shelter during a thunderstorm. Thank you.